Hey, what's up? It's Ike Paz, and today I have a very important video for you. Extremely important if you're serious about making money online on the Amazon KDP network and or Etsy. And for that matter, any other third-party platform that you might want to use, okay? So protect your KDP and Etsy accounts from getting terminated. You're going to want to stay until the end so I can explain to you how you should be cautious of public domain IP. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, that's kind of an oxymoron. Public domain IP. If an IP is public domain, then it's no longer IP. I'm going to explain that to you in a little bit, okay? And this is very much along the lines that the world isn't fair, okay? I'm going to explain in a little bit more, with a little bit more details. Second, selling these types of public domain products off your website, Ecom website, versus a third-party platform. There are advantages of both and also disadvantages of both. And violations versus an actual gray area, a loophole per se. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I want to bring your attention to Alice in Wonderland and when exactly it went into the public domain. It went into the public domain on January 1st, 1923. Actually, everything written by the author, Lewis Carroll, went into the public domain a long, long time ago. Okay, which is, you might be thinking, great news. I can use Alice in Wonderland. I can put the Jabberwocky on a T-shirt, blah blah blah. And yes, you can. However, you gotta be very clear with this. You can't use Disney's interpretation of Alice in Wonderland. This is still IP, okay? This is not for you to use. Alice in Wonderland is. You can create your own Alice in Wonderland and call whatever character you create Alice in Wonderland, but you can't use anything that stems out of the Disney cartoon that came out, I forget, in the 50s, I believe. I'm not sure. You cannot use that, okay? So I knew very well going into this that Alice in Wonderland was in the public domain. I also knew that the Japanese market on Amazon KDP were searching for Alice in Wonderland related coloring books and other types of products online. So I went ahead and I had an Alice in Wonderland coloring book created, okay? So as you can see, this is in the Japanese anime style. Not only the cover, but everything inside the interior is in the Japanese anime style, okay? And I use elements, and everything comes out of the Lewis and Carroll interpretation, which is public domain. All of that comes out of that interpretation of Alice in Wonderland, okay? And then Amazon, they emailed me asking me to remove this book. Now, if you know anything about Amazon KDP, you cannot delete anything. You can only put things into draft. So my paperback here, as you can see, says draft. Okay, so I bent the knee, as they say, and I put my profitable book in draft because they were threatening me that I was using works that was not in the public domain, even though I know very well everything about this book is public domain. So the question is, why didn't Amazon just outright and terminate my account if I wasn't wrong and I used someone else's IP? Well, because this is a very gray area, okay? Because they have to side with big brands. These big brand names such as Disney and whatnot, they will routinely get their people to scour the internet to these third-party platforms like Amazon, like Etsy, and so forth. And they will look for anything that might even resemble infringement, and they will make claims against you. Now, Amazon is not gonna do battle with Disney just for you, the little publisher out there. So they're gonna side with them, and they're gonna ask you to remove your work. Very interestingly, though, they're not gonna outright terminate you, okay? Because they don't have the grounds to do that. Okay, if you're using, for example, this character, this Disney-inspired Alice from Alice in Wonderland, then yes, they're going to terminate you outright. But if you are within your rights, they're not. But they're going to ask you to take it down, okay? Because they don't want any trouble from big brand companies such as Disney and I don't know, Apple and whatnot. Okay, so it's really important that you remember that. So we talked about the public domain IP, for lack of a better word. Even though it is a public domain piece of work that you might be inspired with, might be using in your products, okay? people, or I should say institutions or companies might make claims against you just to get you off the board, off Amazon, for example, off Etsy, for example, okay? Now I want to get into website versus platform. Now check this out. Now, if you go to, for example, Google Trends, and I put in House of the Dragon. If you don't know what House of the Dragon is, it's a continuation of the long-running TV show Game of Thrones. Now, that was really popular a couple years ago. Now they're back, and I've had a big upsurge in sales for my Game of Thrones inspired baby shower game set. Now, as you can see here on this page, there's not a mention of Game of Thrones. It says entire Game of Cradles printable set. So instead of Game of Thrones, I have Game of Cradles. Now, even the language within the games, for example, instead of saying House Stark, I say House Stork, okay? Playing on the whole baby's coming. Instead of House, what's another family within the TV series? Instead of saying House Targaryen, I say House Trimester, okay? Instead of saying House Lannister, I have House Lactation, right? Everything associated with pregnancy. Of course, this game is designed to entertain and make the mom to be laugh and have her friends laugh and have a good time, right? Now, there's a big uptick for sales for this product of mine, okay? Now, of course, I'm not referencing Game of Thrones, but I'm alluding to it, okay? So going back to my main slide here, this is very much a gray area, okay? Now, if they do come at me, I don't know, if HBO does come at me and say, hey, take that down, you're infringing. Oh, I'm not infringing, because I'm not talking about anything that has to do with your product. Now, I would not dare to sell this on Etsy, or I wouldn't make a book about this on Amazon, because then HBO can go to this third-party platform and threaten them with a claim, okay? And they're gonna side with the big brand, not with me, okay? Really important to remember. So what I did was, with this Alice in Wonderland printable, I'm sorry, now it's a printable. Before it was, as you can see, a coloring book. Now I sell it as a printable, okay, on my own site, a different site, okay? And that of course is not garnering me as much sales like it was on Amazon KDP, because again, that's one of the advantages. That's why you and I publish books and publish printables on these third-party platforms, because they have built-in traffic. People already searching on their networks for these types of products, okay? When I post or publish, I should say, a product like this on my own website, I have to get the traffic myself. Now, there are ways to do that. If you're curious about that, check out the information down below. I'll teach you how to do that. But the main takeaway here, the salient point, is that even though you're in the right, even though you created products that are completely yours, using public domain, which you are in the right to use public domain works in your products, you still can be taken off the board by these big brand companies who will make a claim against you, because it doesn't hurt them to make a claim against you, okay? At the same time, Amazon and Etsy, they don't want to deal with these claims, you understand? So they're going to side with them, okay? They're not going to terminate you outright, but they're going to ask you to take it down, okay? And because it's their platform, you have nothing, there's nothing else you can do but bend the knee. So really important video to understand. Forgive me if I'm rambling. This happened actually quite a bit ago. It didn't happen recently, but it's something I wanted to send out there to you folks who are watching me and following my videos. Everything that I show you, this is not theory. I actually make money online with books on Amazon and with printables, mostly printables. So it's really important that you understand this point, okay? When it comes to public domain that used to be owned by Disney or whatnot, you're gonna want to use it. You want to sell it on your own site. You don't want to sell it on these third-party sites. Okay, that's basically the gist of it. Okay, let me know what you think. Any questions down below? If you agree or disagree, whatever it may be, I wanna hear you. Okay, comment down below. Take care. Have a wonderful day and peace.